about it. The executive director of the National Council for Traditional Arts, Mr. Blaine Wade, joins us on the show this morning. How are you doing this morning, Blaine?
I'm all right. How are you doing, Dave?
Not too bad, not too bad. Now, tell us about the festival coming up next week. It's a little bit unique, I think, in breadth, if nothing else. Tell us about what's happening in Jackson next week.
Yeah, no, the National Folk Festival is really a one-of-a-kind event, and we hope a one-of-a-kind opportunity coming to the state of Mississippi for the first time in its 92-year history. It is a large-scale, entirely free to the public celebration of the artistic traditions of all Americans. This is going to be a 6-stage festival taking place in downtown Jackson with everything from parades to food vendors to a crafts marketplace, and featuring music, everything from bluegrass and blues to salsa music to Krump dance to Korean percussion and dance to flamenco, Cape Verdean music. And the idea is that no matter who you are, you can come to this festival entirely free and family friendly and see something that's for you and really get introduced to some of the great artists here in the United States.
Well, and I was nosing around the website. I think it's like 300 different acts are going to be performing this year.
Well, we say 300 artists, and that covers all the music and dance performances, as well as the crafts marketplace. And then there's the Mississippi Folklife area that's curated by the Mississippi Arts Commission. And so that's going to have a performance stage with about a dozen performing groups, as well as about 15 craft demonstrators, everything from quilters and instrument makers to skateboarders and a motorcycle club from Indianola, Mississippi, right across the street from Club Ebony, where B.B. King got his start. So it's a wide breadth of artistic and cultural expression, showing the best of the country, but also the best of Mississippi.
Well, and I'll be honest, when I was reading through it and I was researching it, it almost kind of had a flavor of a Renaissance festival in a way when I first read it. And then the more I read, the more I realized, no, it's a lot more than that. It's a lot bigger of a deal, isn't it?
Yeah, no, this is a really big event. And like I said, we've been around for 92 years. The festival's been in about 30 communities. It's never been in the Deep South. It's never been in the state of Mississippi. And I can't think of a more appropriate place for a festival that celebrates the best of American music and culture than the state of Mississippi, which has contributed so much to the national story of music, art, and culture. And I think people are going to be really surprised this year when they come out the first time. I mean, we're talking world-class musicians, one of the best Irish fiddlers in the country, world-class blues musicians, bluegrass musicians, some of the best artists from Mississippi, just a rock and salsa band from New York City. And all of this, as well as a family area, again, food and craft and demonstrators. So it's just a full immersive experience that people are just going to love. And it's going to be really enriching and rewarding for the entire family.
Now, the cool thing to me is, and correct me if I've got this wrong, this is the first of 3 years in a row that the fest is going to be in Jackson, right?
Yeah, so the model for the National Folk Festival and the way we've been working for about the last 40 years is it goes into a community and it lays the foundation for a long-term festival. It's a 3-year residency. It's always a downtown event. It's always large scale. And it's always free to the public. And it has this broad cultural scope of introducing people to as much of the country as we can over 3 years. And the whole point and direction is eventually it lays the foundation for a locally produced festival that will continue after that 3 years. And we have festivals like that we helped start that have been going for 40 years and 21 years and 18 years and on down the line. And these are events that bring over 150,000 people into the downtown of these communities. They generate new downtown investments, economic renewal, and more than anything, it's community building. We rely on about 800 to 1,000 volunteers. It takes the whole community to get behind the event. Like I said, it's free and family friendly. It's for everybody. It's just a really positive and joyous experience that's there for 3 years and then leaves something long-term for the community and the whole state of Mississippi as well.
And as we've seen over and over with these kind of festivals, live events, whatever you want to classify it, the number of people that you bring in is an economic boost to the area, in this case to the city of Jackson, because those people that are coming in, they're spending money. They bring their wallet with them when they come, and it provides a little bit of a injection of capital, if you will, when these people come in. That's another way that it's important to the city.
Yeah, sure. And that's what we've seen across these other cities I've mentioned. What we'll see as this builds over 3 years is eventually 15 to $30 million of long-term economic impacts. That's like you said, it's people staying in hotels, going to restaurants, spending their money at downtown businesses. And it's also then generating people who make their first trip to the area and then want to come back. And we're hoping this is a boost to Jackson, but also the boost to the bedroom communities in Ridgeland and Canton and Brandon and on at Flowood and on and on. And we've seen this, if we look at our festival, for instance, in Richmond, Virginia, it brings in about $37 million annually economic impacts. Butte, Montana, where the National Folk Festival was from 2008 to 2010, brings in $30 million statewide tourism. And I really think that the story in Jackson and Mississippi can be like Butte, because people can come, they can see the festival, and then they can go to all the different cultural and heritage and history sites throughout the state of Mississippi. Cultural heritage tourism is a big part of the Mississippi economy, and this can be a big boost for that. So all the economic benefits, the community building, it's just a huge lift for the community.
In the history of this, and in previous, you mentioned Butte and all these other places, do you get people coming in from out of state, from a decent distance, to come in and attend these festivals?
Yes, for sure. I mean, you see some people who travel with the festival. And I think when we're talking about Jackson, what we're really hoping to do over time is appeal to people in New Orleans, in Memphis, heading over to Alabama, into Arkansas, to have that regional appeal and then also national appeal as well. Now, what's really exciting is, of course, next year is the celebration of the 250th anniversary of the country. And again, Mississippi has contributed so much to the story of 20th century American music cannot be told without Mississippi. And next year is going to be a really exciting opportunity to celebrate that, again, to drive people to Vicksburg, to see the Civil War sites, all the civil rights sites, all the literary and musical sites. So it's a chance to bring a national audience to the state and share all that Mississippi has to offer.
Well, and that's the really cool thing about this, because we spend all day, every day immersed in it in the state of Mississippi.
Yep.
And as a result, you kind of lose sight of it. You don't see the forest for the trees, and we have an absolutely stunning forest in this state when it comes to the arts.
Yeah, and one thing I've really gotten in the habit of saying is, so right now we do about 4 festivals throughout the country. So we stay involved in some of the host cities. And even though the festival has never been in the state of Mississippi, Mississippi's at the festival almost every year, whether we're talking about blues artists or gospel artists or more. You're talking about we have relationships with artists throughout the state of Mississippi who we've taken to Butte, Montana, Lowell, Massachusetts, Bangor, Maine, Richmond, Virginia, Greensboro, North Carolina, and Salisbury, Maryland in recent years. And that's because of the richness of, like you said, all the rich forest of arts in the state of Mississippi. So this is really a great chance to basically bring the festival home to the birthplace of America's music and celebrate all those artists close to home, but also introduce all the people in Mississippi to so many things maybe they've never experienced before, and the best artists doing these things in the country. So it's going to be a real lift to Mississippi artists, but also just such a positive impact for families and kids to see what they're introduced to and exposed to.
Well, that was the next thing I was going to bring up. This is an extremely family-friendly event, isn't it?
Oh, yeah. No, it's entirely free. We want everybody to be able to attend. The reason it's downtown is to make it accessible to everyone. And we want it to be something that you can bring the kids to. You can take them to the family area. We have a really robust family area. It's a mix of make and take activities, hands-on activities for kids. We're working with the Mississippi Children's Museum, the Mississippi Band of Choctaw Indians, B.B. King Museum, on and on and on in terms of the great organizations who have come to the table and help us plan activities. So you can bring your kid, they can learn, they can get their hands on things. C-Spire's doing some great things with virtual technology. There's a performance stage there as well, interactive, get the kids up dancing, learning klezmer dances, learning Krump dance. And so all these things for the family to do together, and then to go to all these wonderful performances that are joyous and uplifting, educational, but also just a whole lot of fun. And it's a chance that really has a long-term impact on kids. If you think about a festival like ours in Richmond, Virginia, that's been there for 20 years, you have kids who started going to the festival who are now bringing their kids to the festival.
That is a great way to feel old, isn't it? When you realize that. I know how that works. Can you stick around through the break?
Of course. Thank you.
Fantastic. Blaine Wade with us, the executive director of the National Council for Traditional Arts, the National Folk Festival coming to Jackson next weekend. And when we come back, I got some difficult questions to ask you. It's enough of the fluff. I got to find out what a Krump dance is. I've never heard of that one. And I'm the educational part's going to kick in after the break with Blaine when we continue here on Mornings. Super Talk Mississippi. Keep it here. Welcome back. Mornings on Super Talk Mississippi. Told you about Richard on the road tomorrow. Thursday, he's on the road, too. It's a busy week for Richard. He'll be at the Mississippi Coliseum for the Hobnob, hosted by the Mississippi Economic Council. Political leaders, a day of networking, and great food. You can still register. Go to mec.ms to find out more. We have Blaine Wade with us, the executive director of the National Council for Traditional Arts, the National Folk Festival, and now we're going to get to the educational part he was talking about. What is a Krump dance, Blaine?
Yeah, of course. I'd love to tell you. So Krump dance as breakdancing kind of emerges in different urban spaces in the 70s, and what you've seen since then is different sort of evolutions and derivations from there. Krump dance emerged around the turn of the 20th to the 21st centuries. There was a guy in LA who started something called clowning, which is kind of it's sort of what it sounds like without the visuals of clowning, but it was fun and playful form of dance. And out of that grew Krump dance, which became a more sort of energetic and aggressive way of dancing, based in sort of mock battles. But what it was actually meant to do was help people release, who are growing up in some of these urban settings, some of the pent up struggles and feelings. And so it's actually meant to be a very positive and generative sort of way of releasing those feelings, expressing yourself, and leading to a very positive sense of community. But it's an urban dance form. Again, it's highly energetic, has very dramatic dance moves. It's usually performed in sort of a fake battle, staged battle sense. And what was really interesting about it is part of the National Folk Festival is when we go into a new community, of course, again, we are featuring some of the best artists in the country, but we also want to feature some of the artists from the host community and really make sure we're highlighting the host region and that sense of place. And we work with a lot of local advisory committees. And one of them is a programming committee. We get ideas on and feedback on what artists should be at the festival. So we were meeting and we said, what should we know about Jackson? And somebody spoke up and said, well, there's this really great stuff going on at the Briarwood Arts Center, and they're hosting these Krump dance battles, and that would be a great thing to do at the festival. And so we're like, great, let's do that. We want to show as much. We want to show people how broad the idea of folk is. So they're coming, they're going to do interactive performances. Kids can get up and learn how to Krump dance. It's very participatory. So it's going to be a lot of fun. And it's also highly educational and a way of showing some of the great arts activity going on in Jackson.
Well, this is how I know I'm old. I think I threw my back out listening to you explain what Krump dancing is. Forget trying it. That's never going to happen. Well, maybe once, but that'll be it for the rest of all time. But this does also, the Krump dance thing, highlights something that I think people don't really think about. You hear folk, a folk festival. You think ye olden times.
Right.
Folk is continually evolving. New things are continually popping up that will still be around in 100 years, 200 years. One day they will be ye olden times. But you're in at the beginning, so to speak. So you get to enjoy all the things that have started before, plus the things starting now, right? It's a lot broader than just clogging.
Yeah, no, this is not fiddles and banjos. This is not rocking chairs on the front porch. I mean, there will be some fiddles and banjos. Again, we're going to have one of the best Irish fiddlers in the country, Eileen Ivers, at this festival. But when we're talking about what folk music is, it is a living thing. It's constantly changing. It's part of each of our lives, no matter where you live, where you go to church, where you work. There are traditions you grow up around. There are things that are passed down to you and your family, and that is always changing. It is not a static thing. And so what we're trying to highlight at the festival is how broad and mixed that can really be. It's everything from salsa music that emerged in Puerto Rican communities in New York City to go-go, which is the official music here in Washington, D.C., which brought together funk and jazz and Latin percussion. It's Krump dance, but it's also bluegrass music and blues. We're going to have Sacred Steel Gospel, this really exciting tradition that came out of House of God Pentecostal churches, where they brought the steel guitar in basically from Hawaiian music in the 1930s and made it central to worship services. So it's all about how communities bring arts and creative expression into their spaces and make those expressions vital to who they are and their sense of identity, and how those change over time. And we want to show the full breadth of that. Everything, again, like bluegrass and back to the very start of it, up to very, very recent and new forms of expression like Krump dance.
Well, there's another aspect of this that I'm kind of picking up on here, and I just had the thought. Your great-great-grandmother used to tell your grandmother stories. You used to share things on, a lazy Saturday afternoon, whether it be a scary story, funny stories, whatever. Every single one of those doesn't get passed down. Your grandmother didn't tell you every single story her grandmother told her, because it gets filtered. And when it gets filtered, you wind up with the best of the best. Yep. The stuff that survives is the really good stuff, right?
Yeah, no, exactly. And I mean, I love that you highlighted storytelling, because at the core of what the festival is, we're telling stories. These artists all come, and through their performances and through what they share, and they're all wonderful on stage, they're telling you stories of who they are and where they're from, and they're representing their communities. But you're exactly right. What they're telling you, the artists themselves are the best artists coming from those communities. That's why they're here. And what they're sharing, their performances, their songs, their versions of songs that have been passed down for generations, represent the best of that. And so it's such a wonderful snapshot. I mean, a lot of these artists are people that people may not have heard of, but looking at like somebody like Lucinia, who comes from a strong Cape Verdean community in Boston that goes back to the 19th century in the whaling industry there. She is literally probably the finest Cape Verdean singer in the United States. She is amazing. She is going to blow people away. And those are the kind of stories that we want to share at the festival.
Well, music is storytelling at its heart. And I would go even further than that. I would argue everything is storytelling in life. Everything worth anything in life is storytelling in one way or another. This is a fantastic way to learn about those new things. Like you were just mentioning that singer that no one's ever heard of. I got a little secret to spread to everyone. Every single favorite musical artist you have, at one point, you heard about them for the first time and said, "Who's that?" Well, you're going to have that opportunity next weekend in Jackson with a new crew that you probably wouldn't get exposed to any other way other than the festival. Blaine?
Yeah, no, that's exactly right. I mean, a lot of these artists are probably making their first trip to Mississippi. We're going to have this great trio romantico group. They're beautiful harmony singing. It came up around the Texas-Mexico border in the 1950s. It's absolutely gorgeous singing. And I doubt groups like that come through most places very often, not just Mississippi. And one of the really nice things about the festival is people are going to come out and they're going to want to see, if they know Irish music, they're going to know Eileen Ivers. Of course, everybody knows Bobby Rush and Miss Jody and the Sonic Boom of the South. Dale Ann Bradley, if you know bluegrass, you're going to know her. But by the end of the festival, everybody's going to be amazed by Korean percussion and dance. Everybody's going to be amazed by the flamenco group we have, or Lucinia. There's so many artists that are really people are going to find their new favorites. And what's really interesting is at the festival is to watch where people are on Sunday. And like, we have never heard of this artist before, but now they're just following them everywhere. So it's such a great opportunity to expose people to new things.
That's what life's all about, learning about new things, finding new things, and finding your old favorite you haven't discovered yet, because eventually it becomes an old favorite. You just got to do that first part and actually find it first. And that to me is one of the biggest functions of this, is to spread it. And one of the keys to storytelling, if you go back before printing and writing were invented, storytelling is spreading the word, spreading the story, passing it down. And that's at the heart of what you're doing with the folk festival. It sounds like to me anyway.
Yeah, I mean, what you're trying to do with these festivals is also ensure that these traditions continue. You're giving artists opportunities to perform, you're putting in front of new audiences, and you're showing how important all of this is. And it's in that synergy and that back and forth between artist and audience that the real value of this is, because it builds such a strong and important sense of community. And by doing all of that, we all learn the value of preserving these things and passing them down in our own lives. And it really helps. What you'll see is, younger artists. And it's so important for younger artists to come to a festival like this and perform and then see the value of what they're doing. So it just becomes this really self-sustaining circle that's so important to maintaining really these great artistic traditions, all of which are rooted here in the United States. All of these artists, even though they're from very different cultural communities, they're all based here in the U.S. And that's the point, is showing, look at all these cultural communities who are here in the United States and look at the best artists from them and all the joy that comes out of this great family-friendly event.
Next weekend, we have the Folk Festival, National Folk Festival, starting a 3-year residency in Jackson, Mississippi. It's going to be a good time, and you're going to enjoy yourself in ways that will surprise you if you attend. I only ask for one promise. If I show up, Blaine, don't pressure me into trying Krump dance, because hip replacements are expensive, buddy.
Yeah, I think I'm right there with you.
Okay, that's good. Blaine Wade, enjoyed talking to you, my friend, and welcome to everybody that's coming with the Folk Festival to the state capitol. We're looking forward to it. It's great to have it coming this year and for the next 2 years after that. Appreciate it.
Sure. Thank you so much. And just go to nationalfolkfestival.com for more info. And we still need volunteers. So please, if you're out there, volunteer. November 7th through 9th, entirely free, nationalfolkfestival.com.